Let me tell you something, buddy. So I did not start peaking until I was 26 years old. So let me explain. I had just came back from graduate school. Waste of time, complete waste of time. Um, I had just come back from graduate school. I was 26. I was trying to figure things out. I could say at that time, I was like, I felt like I was kind of going in the right direction, but I was stuck, right? I was kind of trudging along, but it wasn't so easy. It was gradual, right? I was operating at a snail's pace. But there's something to that, right? Because at the end of the day, even though it felt like I wasn't making progress, I was making progress. I was, if you will, taking two steps back, one step forward. That is still progress, right? Um, the thing was, I was I was having a hard time, right? But anyhow, I think the best way to look at how to rate your performance in this case was through women, right? Because let me tell you, as I got better, as I started stacking wins, the women progressively became more beautiful, right? And I was like, well, that's very interesting. Um, and it happened quite quickly. I was 26. I was kind of going out with like some girls, and then boom, boom, one after the other, they start getting prettier and prettier. And I'm thinking, is it something that I'm saying? Is it something that I'm doing? Like, is it because I'm better looking? No, no, it wasn't that. It was that I improved, I transformed, and as a result of that, the response was that the women in turn were of better quality over time. It just kind of happened that way. So that's the way to measure your transformation. It isn't through money. It's, did you get the respect? Did you get the love of a woman? Because at the end of the day, people can have plenty of money and still have no love. All right. So that is the ultimate way to gauge how far you've come. Okay. It isn't health, it isn't aesthetics, it isn't looks maxing, it isn't any of those things. It is, have you gotten the respect? Have you gotten the love from a woman that you want it from? Right. Plenty of people could say that they can get it from some people, but not always the people that they want it from. So that is an important thing to think about. And if you feel down and out, let me tell you, 26, I mean, just to give you an idea, all of my friends when I was in college were all dating. They were out there, they were hooking up, they were doing all the things that I could only see, from, excuse me, that I could only see from a distance, right? And it wasn't anything I was partaking in. So I was a little bit, I felt kind of left out. I felt like, damn, if this is college, right? 21, 19, 20, 22, I'm supposed to be peaking. I was nowhere near peaking. If anything, I was digressing. I felt like, man, when's my time gonna come is what I was feeling like. All right. So it took me several years to get to where they were early. But then I see some of these guys now and I'm like, oh man, I'm glad that I peaked later than I did earlier because some of these dudes fell off precipitously. Um, I was 26. I started hitting stride from there. And yeah, I was a late bloomer. So I had to learn a lot of things fast because I had arrived late to the party, if you will. It took me a long time to figure things out. But then when I did finally hit stride, it was like, wow, it felt like the right thing, right? It felt like the right time. Like I'm glad it didn't happen sooner because I probably wouldn't have been prepared for the opportunities that would have came my way. So you have to look at it like that, right? It's like your time will come when it needs to come. Um, it doesn't mean that you can't put in the work. It doesn't mean you shouldn't put in the work. You absolutely should. But what I'm saying is that you shouldn't judge your performance on what other people are doing. Everybody's moving in a certain uh, direction, and so you have to understand that things happen to you the way they happen to you for a reason. So in my case, it was a little bit slower. It was a little bit later than everybody else. But then when it did happen, it felt right. It felt like, okay, I was ready for it. I was mentally prepared for it. I had worked for it. So I wasn't surprised when things started kind of going my way because I had put in a bunch of groundwork. Um, I didn't see any results in the immediate, but then when they started coming, it started making sense. And I wasn't taken aback by it either. Um, and so for anybody that's watching this that feels like they're down and out at this age, at 26, late 20s, this is the moment though. However, I will tell you this, that the people that don't start to make the moves and to make the decision to start changing, right? If they're moving in a certain trajectory, if they're a couch potato, if they're loafing around, if they're just smoking weed, if they're just living a degenerate lifestyle, if you don't decide that you need to make the changes, it could unfortunately be your life moving forward. Because I've seen it. I've seen the people that were smoking weed at 18, 19 years old and then kept going, and now they're in their 30s and they're still dreaming. And the thing is, they'll never take the action to do anything about it. And there's plenty of lost men. I run into these dudes all the time. Guys that I'm like, man, what is going on that these dudes just don't understand the urgency of the matter, right? The power of being a man is that you can always change your circumstances. You can always make things better. Things can always get better. And that's the thing, is that if you don't, you need to find that within yourself. There's not something that anybody can tell you. It's not something you're going to read in a book per se. You don't need a mentor for this. You don't need anything, right? You just need to dig into yourself. You need to have a profound conversation with yourself and say, enough is enough. I'm sick of the way I've been living and I want things to be better. And the reality is, the universe will pay you in full for that effort. I truly believe that, because I've seen it in my own life, right? Where the amount of work I put in, yeah, it didn't always pan out, but there was something about it, that work, that sweat equity, if you will, that allowed me to reap the benefits moving forward. And it just required a little bit of effort. It was a butterfly effect, right? It was like all the little things stacked up to big things, right? And when you're in it, maybe you don't notice it, but over time you will. And I think that's the thing you got to look forward to, is that the work will pay off. Like I said, the universe is on your side. God, Allah, whatever you want to call your supreme being, anything outside of yourself is what I mean, right? So find that strength, right? And to make those changes, right? Because you are not out of the game. I can tell you, I can absolutely guarantee anybody can make these changes. You don't have to be a certain age. You don't have to do anything in particular. All you have to do is decide that enough is enough. I'm disgusted by the way I've been living, and you want to live better. And it's really just starts from there. And then you just slowly hack away. That's all it is, right? There is no secret way of going about it. You just got to figure out what your psychology needs. Everybody has their own individual psychology, and you got to figure out what works for you, right? If self-loathing is the way to go, if yelling mantras in the mirror is the way to go, if, I don't know, taking hallucinogenics is your way, do whatever you need to do to figure out what you need to do to get out of whatever slump you're in. All right, get out of it. And I'm telling you, I'm proof of it. And there's plenty of other transformations that you can find online of people that have made changes. All right, so hang in there, have some hope. See you in the next one.